What's the impact of all this AI use on the environment? They have huge offices where they have all these servers that need energy and water. Also, we're putting in perspective because yes, it has an impact. Also, everything we do nowadays has an impact. Wearing our clothes, eating a burger.
It's also an opportunity for companies because, AI can help them in the end optimize their energy usage. We have the tendency to say, well, what does it matter if I don't unplug my device? Or what's it going to matter if I don't do one more search? Like, I'm so insignificant in the big picture, right? But I think it's important to realize that, yes, when we start adding up, it counts. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sci-Tech Suisse Vibe Check, the weekly podcast on AI, technology, and lifestyle. My name is Ana Maria Montero, and I am joined today by my co-host, Margarita Silva. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I am so good. You, of course, have seen Margarita do many episodes already, lots of cool interviews and lots of interesting topics. So I'm happy to share the mics for the first time with you.
Definitely the honor is mine. With all your background, I'm the one who is always impressed with you.
Nicely done, nicely done. Today we're going to be jumping into the topic of the impact of AI on the environment. But before we dive in,
yes, please do subscribe, like, and share. It's really important for us. If you really like our content, please do subscribe, give us some love.
On that note, shall we dive in?
Yes. So basically what inspired us to do this topic is because in the last few weeks, we've had this spike of the image creation with ChatGPT because the latest version of ChatGPT does it amazingly. So people are so impressed that everyone is using it, right? And it's trending in every single social media. We have these Ghibli images, we have the Simpson images, the Pixar images. This has also raised the question, what's the impact of all this AI use on the environment, right? Yes.
Yeah, I'm colossal.
Yes.
Like, is all I can say. I mean, staggering, really.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to talk about that, but also we're putting in perspective because, yes, it has an impact. Also, everything we do nowadays has an impact, a footprint. Exactly. So that's why we're going to see both sides. Yes, but, right? So so the first thing I would say is that even the creator of ChatGPT recognized like this is way too much. He even posted a tweet which says, "Can you all please chill on generating images? This is insane. Our team needs sleep." Because, so many images being generated. And obviously creating an image is way more complex than just answering a text question kind of thing, right? So,
and it can consume, this is an interesting statistic too, it can consume as much energy as charging a smartphone.
Exactly. Good. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, exactly. So, that's why we'll talk about this later, but awareness, right? We need to be more aware of everything we do and the impact that every single of our actions has in our planet, right? So,
and us included.
Yes, of course.
We have to say.
Everyone, yes. Well, us because we're going online.
Yeah, we're going online, but also because, for one of our recent podcasts, we
created the Ghibli image.
The Ghibli image, so...
Of course, we had to jump in the trend because everyone has to jump in the trend. Otherwise, if you don't jump on trends, then you don't exist online.
Yeah, that's, again, double-edged sword.
Yes, again. So, one of the interesting statistics that I found is that training the third version of ChatGPT produced 500 tons of carbon dioxide, which is equivalent to driving a car for 1.2 million miles. Wow. So, yes,
staggering.
It's a lot.
I told you.
Exactly. Because the training, what is the training? It's just teaching the AI to answer questions, to reflect, all the side behind to get what we get right now, which is an LLM we can talk to and ask questions and have accurate answers, right?
Absolutely.
But that obviously takes a lot of work. So it implies, first of all, servers. So they have huge offices where they have all these servers that need both energy and water. And why water? Which has been, a lot of people have been talking, I just consume so much water using AI. Why? Well, the reason is because it needs cooling. The machines need to be to kept cool because all this working heats them up. So they need water. And in some cases is recycled, but not in all of that. Not in all of them. So
the impact really, you can sum it up in saying it goes into the training. Comes from training, the water usage of cooling the servers.
Every time you search something on ChatGPT, that has a footprint, like everything. Like we can compare it to other things, like
exactly. So how does that compare, for example, to a Google search?
Exactly. So, for example, with Google search, is 15 to 20 more times the footprint. Compared of AI, the ChatGPT, for example, compared to one search of Google. What this means is if you search for one thing, I don't know, who is Bill Clinton on Google, on Google search, yes, random. If you search for this on Google, that produces 0.2 grams of carbon dioxide.
Okay.
But ChatGPT produces 2.9 for that same search, just generating the answer, produces 2.9. So,
but is the answer better? I mean,
it's just
that's a difference. That's quite a difference.
It's just faster in terms of like when you search on Google, you get all these pages and you have to do the search yourself, pretty much. What the ChatGPT or any other AI LLM does, just compiles all of those articles in a couple of seconds. And then gives you a full answer, compiling information from all of these different pages. So what would take you, 20 minutes to go through different articles and read information in different places, it does it in a couple seconds, and then it gives you a full answer with everything you need. So yes, of course, it's more practical.
Efficient. I mean, if you're doing 20 queries, 20 searches on Google, then that's already, a certain amount. Don't ask me to do the math, but
yeah, I guess,
and then ChatGPT is 2 point whatever.
Google, it's been around for 30 years, pretty much. And then obviously this is just starting. So obviously it also depends on the AI because not all of them work the same way. ChatGPT is a pretty advanced one. So the servers are, more complex, etc. But other AI LLMs might take way less and produce less carbon dioxide and produce, have a lower footprint. But we're talking specifically about ChatGPT, which is the one that everyone is using these days. So yes, obviously it can vary, but in general, yes, like it has an impact just because obviously creating all this technology, it just requires a lot of resources. There's also in the research I found, it's also the mining situation. You need some resources from mining that also has an impact. Exploring those the minerals and stuff that are needed to create the machines. But again, if you put it in perspective, we all have phones, we all have tablets, we all have computers, and that's been happening for many years. So this is not an AI problem. There is the technology in general. We also have the technology waste.
But I think it's fair to say that AI is exacerbating the problem.
Yes, it's relative, I would say, right? Because the thing is, it's like everything. Like everyone is using all these tools anyway, right? So it's just one more issue that is piling up to everything else that all the other. But also what I want to do is to put in perspective compared to other things that we do. For example, 1 minute of scrolling on TikTok, just scrolling videos.
Just scrolling, okay.
1 minute is equivalent to 2.8 grams of carbon dioxide emissions, which is pretty similar to what an AI query produces, but it's, again, 50 more times than a Google search.
And you're not really, you're just scrolling.
You're just scrolling, exactly. You are not aware of it. You're just there in your bed, just watching silly videos of funny cats and stuff.
So once you stop and you start watching a funny video or whatever, then it just jumps, skyrockets. That's crazy.
Yes. So, but listen to this. One email with an attachment produces 50 grams. So that's 20 more times than that one AI search produces. And we've been sending emails for decades now.
Forever.
So, and no one has been saying, "Oh, don't send images, don't send emails.
Attachments with your emails."
Oh my God, this is. Yeah. I mean, so pretty much, what I want to say here is like, yes, AI is having an impact on the environment, but what is not having an impact on the environment? Every single thing we do nowadays, wearing our clothes, like the fashion industry has a super high footprint as well. Or food, like specifically red meat.
Red meat, yeah. The production of red meat is...
Eating a burger is super high, the footprint. I have the statistic here is 2,500 liters of water for one burger. 2,500 liters of water to produce one burger. And you don't think about that when you're having that delicious burger, right?
I don't eat burgers, but if I were having a burger, wow, I would feel bad about it, I guess.
Exactly, yes. And then, look, for beef, to produce one steak, you need 4,650 liters of water.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, this is why lots of people are going vegetarian or vegan, because they are aware of the impact of farming and all this stuff. But yes, like what I'm trying to say is everything we do has an impact on environment. So not to minimize what is happening with AI, but just to put in perspective.
I guess too, when companies like big tech companies like Microsoft start throwing around the idea of opening up nuclear power plants in order to be able to power their AI, I think that's when, antennas start going up and people start thinking, what is happening, right? Because we were shutting down nuclear power plants, and now they're thinking of reopening one that had that really was in the U.S., had an accident in the late 70s and, closed down, and now they're thinking of reopening. So, yes, I think that's when, like I said, red flags start going up.
Yes, exactly. So what I think it's important here is to be aware of this. So, I mean, there's always solutions, and they're always like, for example, the companies nowadays, they're constantly working on finding solutions to how to recycle, how to be greener. Not all of them, of course.
To their credit, they are, especially things when you talk about water, when you talk about water, what do you do instead of using up all the fresh water? Can you just desalinate water, right? Use the salt water and to also cool your machines. Like, I know some of that's also being done.
Yes. No, and companies are figuring out ways to recycle water as well in their, in their offices or so on. So, and in this case, as we said, with AI, many of these companies are figuring out ways all the time to have less impact. Also because for them it's convenient. I mean, the less resources they use, the more savings they have. So obviously is the environmental impact, but also there's some benefit for them as well.
And that's where it could, that's the double-edged sword that AI always is, but that's where it's also an opportunity for companies, because AI can help them in the end optimize their energy usage.
Yes.
Right? It's also there to and to help them predict climate change effects or optimize transportation or clean energy transitions, whatever the case may be. Yes. That can also be helpful.
Yes, but balance it out, right? Because that's the good thing with the AI, which is, again, on the bright side. Yes, we have all these issues that we talk about with AI. Oh, is it going to replace humans, etc.? But we also have the downside. I mean, the upside. The upside is...
Well, getting replaced, your job replaced is not the upside. But the upside is...
The upside is basically that AI is helping every single field to develop. Like in medicine, we're seeing all these advancements and all these new inventions thanks to AI. And it's also the case in environmental issues. It's helping figure out new ways of, creating new patterns and new technologies that will benefit, the ecosystems and the environment in general. Obviously, there's also the human side, which is obviously we have many interests in the middle, like big companies, etc., which plays a role, right? So, like everything, it has
again
several
the double-edged sword.
Exactly.
That is AI.
Exactly. But on the bright side, I think we are talking more and more about these things. I think the fact that once the image situation started rising, and then the discussion in social media of talking about like, hey, what about the impact of this? I think that's already a really good thing to
100%.
Yes, I mean, like
100%.
30 years ago, no one was talking about footprint or like environmental impact.
If only we had. If only more than a few people had been talking about it 30 years ago, it would have been a different
way better,
story.
yes, exactly. But the good thing is like, and I definitely think that new generations, they are already thinking about all of this stuff way more than us. Kids nowadays. Like yesterday, I was actually seeing an activist in Australia that started yelling it in a press conference with the Prime Minister, saying, "Oh, you promised that you were gonna do all these things for the environment, and in fact, you have signed all these contracts for producing coal and this and that." And she went crazy, and all the media was, behind her. But yes, that shows new generations are aware of it. New generations are also using all the technology way more than us. So, I mean, yes, that's something to think about.
So what would be, along those lines then, what would be ways to reduce our impact?
Yeah, so I would say that the basic thing that we can all think about is, do I really need to use AI for this? Like, I don't know. I want to go for dinner with my boyfriend. I will ask ChatGPT which are the five best restaurants around. No, just go to Maps and have a look yourself. It will take you probably a couple more minutes, but I mean, use AI for real purposes. Like if you're working and then you can simplify, for example, there are lots of people using it for coding because it's something that is done by IT people and very well prepared people.
Right.
But now also people who are not experts in coding can use ChatGPT or any other LLM for coding. And that's great. It saves a lot of time. It helps, even the IT guys are now using ChatGPT
for coding.
For coding, yes. They use it because it saves a lot of time. Now, all the coding they had to do themselves and it was taking them way longer. It's just not done in a couple seconds thanks to ChatGPT. So they still doing their job, but now that part simplifies it. Even us here in the podcast, when we edit the podcast, we get the transcript, and we are using AI for that. We get
to
the
help
transcript.
transcribe it. Yeah,
Exactly.
sure. These things
Yes. So
I mean,
and
you and I
imagine
you and I both are
Old
when
school.
we started as journalists, old school, where you had to really transcribe everything by hand.
Yes.
So I can appreciate that.
I do appreciate it a lot.
A lot. At the same time, that's a kind of experience that I wear as kind of like a badge of honor, though. There are things like, you went through the runner, you did these things, like you had to do more work.
Yes, I mean, of
maybe
course.
I'm just trying to make myself feel better, but I feel like I went through, like I did these things, like I can say I did them, and now it's something that you can do in like 2 seconds.
Yes, I mean, like everything, like 200 years ago, people didn't have, a computer to write a book.
Chipping it on the wall there with a rock.
I mean, like everything, we are in constant evolution.
Yeah.
So, but I do believe that definitely AI is saving humans a lot of time. Like, if you want to be more productive nowadays, yes, you need to use AI. That's clear. In fact, what you sent me, the article about Indeed, saying that
the Indeed CEO,
2/3 of jobs that are posted now on Indeed actually could be done by AI.
2/3 of the qualifications listed on
Of the
some of these jobs.
exactly.
Yeah. Like they would include their job qualifications include things that could be done by AI.
Exactly. But you know what that means? It means if you are ready, if you as a professional nowadays know how to use AI to improve your productivity, then you are in advantage.
Yes. So having using that, having that as a skill, the ability to use AI to your advantage is a skill. Absolutely.
Exactly.
That
So
employers are
yes,
looking
on one
for.
side, like it's just being aware of, just do the search or use the AI in an intelligent way, like in a smart way.
Okay.
Okay, just use it for things that really matter, like everything. But on the other side, also, we need to be aware of all this trending situation, right? Like every time there's a trend for like right now, okay, someone decided to create an image with the Ghibli style. And in a couple minutes, it was already trending. And then for days, everyone was doing it. So, I mean, yes, this is the phenomenon with social media, is that when something is trending, everyone starts doing it, and then we all have to do it. But then, yes, we also need to be aware of the impact of it. Like, to what extent do we really need to jump in the trend? Like, if you are a content creator, like us, for example, or if you are an influencer, I mean, of course, yes, you have to jump in the trend. But if you are someone with a couple hundreds of followers, I mean, do it if you really want to see the image, that's fine. We're not going to judge you for that. But also, like, just don't do it because everyone is doing it and I need to do it as well.
Well, now you're really tapping into, what makes us human, right?
Right.
I mean, it's really, it's people's desire to fit in, to be liked, to be popular, to be clicked on, to be part of the game. I hear you. And I wish more people would listen.
But it's a bit the same with like the fashion problem. The fashion industry has this high footprint because we have these new clothes that are just, you wear them a couple times and you throw them away because, okay, they're not trending anymore, or, there's a nicer shirt than that, and then, you don't use it anymore. But then again, we need to be aware of, like, do you really need to throw it away? I mean, come on, you can use it a couple more months and it's going to be fine.
And I think something that's important to say, too, is that, we have the tendency, when we talk about things like the environment, we have the tendency to say, well, what does it matter if I don't plug out, unplug my device? Or what's it going to matter if I don't do one more search? Like, I'm so insignificant in the big picture, right? But I think it's important to realize that, yes, when we start adding up, it counts. Like the little things that you do count. If you turn off the lights, if you recycle, if you don't eat red meat, if you buy local and seasonal, all of these little things that you can do in your life add up.
Yes. And on the other side, it's also important that activists like the one we were talking about, and just everyone in general, society, starts also telling the big companies as well to jump in. And, as we said, many companies are doing it, going green, but many companies are still not doing it. And we need to really keep encouraging that, right? Like, there should be also more regulation
and more responsibility.
Exactly.
On behalf of the companies. Agreed.
Yes. I mean.
Agreed. 100%. I mean, they could do everything from optimizing their infrastructure to educating users to.
Exactly.
And to their credit, that some of this work is already being done, as we touched on earlier. Some of these steps are already being taken, but can they take it further? Probably.
Definitely, I would say. All right. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. Thank you for everything. We really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Sci-Tech Suisse, our vibe check debate format. And well, we really hope that you can subscribe, share, like in all our social medias. You will find all the links here in the description. Keep commenting as well. Tell us if you agree with what we're saying about the environmental impact of AI or not. Maybe you think differently, and we also want to hear you.
Absolutely. Or if you have anything else that you think that we should be talking about, anything else that is really catching your eye and you're thinking, I want to hear more about that, feel free to send that as well.
Okay.
And we'll do our best.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.